Hello and welcome. Let's take a look at the techniques to create this colorful digital screen inside After Effects, and we're going to make it in a way that it's highly procedural, so it's very easy to make changes. So without further ado, let's begin. Alright, let's start with a new scene file. Go to composition, new composition, and let's call it primary unit, and I'm gonna make it like 100 by 100 and a 10 minutes long animation, right? 10 minutes, so it's a pretty long animation. So yeah, press OK. This is our composition, 100 by 100, very small composition. And let's go to layer, new, solid, and let's call it background. OK, and right click on it, go to effects, generate fill, and let's choose a blue color right here, and I'm gonna I want this color to be to wiggle a little bit, so let's right click on it, go to effects, and color correction, color balance HLS. So when you change hue, the color is going to change its hue. So let's actually alt click on this little stopwatch here to add an expression. Let's type wiggle to 20. We don't want the color to wiggle too much. Alright, let's type 0. That's why we don't see the blue color there. Now the color changes, but not that much, because we typed 20. Amplitude is only 20. And I want the transparency. Press T to reveal the opacity attribute, and alt click on the stopwatch and type wiggle maybe to 50, and let's actually lower the opacity like 30. So most of the time it's going to be close to 0, and it never goes above 80. That's what this means, right? Its amplitude is 50. It's going to change between the opacity is going to change between minus, because we type the value here, minus 20 and 80. That's what it's going to change between. So minus values is actually counted as 0 because it's opacity. So that's our animation for now. So let's we need ones and zeros to be visible. So let's click on this text tool and type 1. Now let's change the size to like 50. Alright, press Alt Control Home to center the anchor point, and let's use the align tools to center the character. And we need ones and zeros. Let's duplicate the layer, Control D, or go to edit duplicate, by the way, and double click on it and press 0. Now we have both of the characters, and we need these characters to change randomly, but I don't want to animate them manually because it's 10 minutes long. So let's use a trick here. Let's right click on it, on the background layer, and go to effect, generate, effect, expression control, slider control, and let's say character. Let's leave the value at 0, and let's type actually another wiggle expression, wiggle to 1. Now the value to 1, this means the value is going to change between -1 and 1, because the value is the value we typed here is 0, and the wiggle is 2. That's 2 is frequency, so it's a very slow movement, and the amplitude is 1. That means the value is going to fluctuate between -1 and 1. So what we're going to do, press E and select this layer, and press T to press the to have the opacity attribute, and type another expression. Alt click on this stopwatch, and I'm going to type this var t. That's a variable. Variable should hold this value, so let's pick with this value. All right, the variable t is going to hold that, whatever that value is. So if t, let's type if t, if that value is less than or equals to 0, this value should be 100. The opacity should be 100. So that means if this value goes 0 or below, the opacity value should be 100, else it should be 0. All right, and let's copy this expression and press T on this layer, and here we want the exact opposite to happen. So let's type 0 here and 100 here. So what this means is that if that value is 0 or less, this number 1, the character number 1, should not be visible. Otherwise, if it is a positive value, the character should be visible. So what it does is that if I make a preview, that's what it does. It randomly animates over time. So actually you can speed it up by increasing the frequency. So if I say 25, it will change a lot, like that. See that? So I think 2 is fine. All right, now that happens. Now I want something else to happen as well. So let's go to layer, new, solid. Let's call it effect. Let's right click in the effects controls window and go to generate fill once again. Let's use some color here, and yeah, let's, while this layer has been selected, let's drag it below the characters and click on this ellipse tool. If you can't find the ellipse tool, you can choose it from this drop down. Alright, let's press F, have a feather, let's duplicate this, double click on the mask, and while holding down Shift and Control, you can bring it down, you can scale it down, and press F to reveal the feather attributes. Maybe once again, yeah, let's do that, and switch to modes and set them on add. Okay, now for these two also I'm going to type a similar expression. Let's actually do the same expression here. Press U and copy, paste, and link the opacity, whatever that opacity value, to this. All right, now every time one is visible, this effect is also visible. So we don't want that to happen. We don't want to see this effect all the time. We don't want to see this effect here and there, you know, in random times, very less. So what we can do is we can change this value like 0.6 times. If I do that, it won't be visible all of the time, but you know, sometimes it becomes visible. The frequency is lower. Why this happens? Because remember that this value right here, this value changes between -1 and 1. That's what we are using here. So if this value fluctuates between -1 and 1. So if we type 0 right here, 0, that means every time this value is less than 0, do something, above 0, then do something. So there is a 50% chance if I say 0, if t is less than or equal to 0, make the opacity 0. Otherwise make everything make the opacity 100. If I say this, there is a 50% of a chance to see this effect. So we don't want to see the effect that much. We want to reduce it. So what we can do is we have to increase the chance of seeing it at value 0. In order to do that, let's do it like 0.6. When you do that, what happens is, now every time the value is less than 0.6, like this much of time, it's about roughly about a little over 75%. About 75% of the time you won't see this. You won't see this effect. That's what this means. About 25% of the time you will see it. So our hard part is over. Let's make a new composition. Line of digits. Let's make the width 100, the height at 4000. So it's a pretty long composition. So let's drag and drop the primary unit, and let's move it to like 50. So right to the top of the composition. And I'm going to, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate it like 40 times, right? Because this is 100, the width is 100, the composition width is 4000, height is 4000, so you have to duplicate it 40 times. There's an easier way of doing it, so it's tedious to do, so I have a tool for that here, Master Toolbox. By the way, this tool it's completely free. You can follow the link in the description and download it. You don't have to give your email or address or anything. Just click on the download button and it'll download. I have the installation instructions in the description as well, and in the download page as well. So it's pretty easy to install. So let's do this. Let's actually make it 3D. You need to make the layer 3D, and let's duplicate it minus 100 in y-axis, right? We need 40 copies. Let's duplicate it. All right, that's what it does. Okay, let's Control A to select all, and because now the animation happens, because our endpoints are at the same at 0, our animation is going to be at the same time, right? But our animation, what I want is an effect that runs from top to bottom, that an animation that runs from top to bottom. That's I need to see a flow. So what I'm going to do, select Control A to select all, and I'm going to offset the layers, maybe in 2 frames. Offset layers. Let's do that. So what it will give you is this animation. All right, this is the effect. You don't see it that much. Now what you would see here is this kind of an animation. All right, and now let's create our main composition. Let's make it actually HTTP, and we don't need it to be 10 minutes long. It's 8 seconds animation. All right, now let's drag the line of digits composition in here, and let's move it to like 50 to this side of the screen left corner, and let's make it 3D and duplicate it along minus 100 in x-axis, like yeah, let's say 60 times. That's it. Let's make everything, let's parent everything to this layer right here. Let's make it green to make it different, and let's hide these layers to shy button, and let's create a simple camera rig so we can easily animate it. Press R, and in x-axis, and maybe in z-axis here. Okay, now let's scale it down, like maybe 70. Now let's animate the position of this camera transform 3 control. Let's move it up like so. Okay, let's animate the position from here to something like that. Okay, now the problem here once again is that the whole animation starts at the same time, so that's not good. Actually, let's trim this animation a little bit. Press B on the keyboard, because our animation here in the main line of digits composition animation, this part we don't need because that's the formation, initial formation. So let's press B, come around here, press B to adjust the work area, right click, come to work area. Now still all the layers has their endpoints at the same time. At the beginning of the timeline, everything is animating at the same way. You know, it's repetitive and very monotonic. So let's change it. Let's actually offset layers in random order between 1500. That's 50 seconds. So what's this going to do is that it's going to randomly place the endpoints of the selected layers between 0 and 1500 frames. So that's a distribution between 50 seconds. That's no problem because our composition is like 10 minutes long. That line of digits composition is 10 minutes long, so there's no problem. So when you do offset layers, that's what it does. Everything is now distributed. Now, yeah, you can barely see the beginning of everything. So let's drag them until we see all the layers, because they're distributed along between 0 and 50 seconds. So let's drag them like okay, now we see everything. Now everything is randomized. That seems good. One more thing, let's turn on the depth of field and maybe aperture 200, blur levels 200. Let's see what it does. Alright, that'll give you some depth of field there. And let's also just spice it up a little bit. Let's do an adjustment layer, CC, for color correction. And these are some general stuff. You can apply a curves adjustment there. It's a good way to apply. Let's actually create, because right now we have an alpha channel here, so that's not good. Let's create a new solid. Let's call it the background, main background, right? We had a background layer, main background. And let's apply a fill adjustment, generate fill, and let's make it really dark blue. Let's switch it to the quarter quality so we have a faster refresh rate, and let's add some blues to the shadowed areas, because blue is what we're looking for. Let's remove the reds, maybe add reds and remove greens from the composition to make it blue. All right, from here you can add maybe, let's do something, lens flare. The way I use lens flare is that to add, I'm gonna apply, what's that? I'm gonna apply Video Copilot's Optical Flare. The beautiful thing about lens flares is that they add some atmosphere into your composition. So let's go to the preset browser maybe. All right, let's do this one. I'm gonna move it way over here just to add some atmosphere. That's all I'm gonna do. All right, now let's also do something cool. Let's layer new null objects, and let's call it controls, and let's add expression control, color control, and let's call it color 01 and color 02. make it blue, and this one also make it something bluish. All right, what I'm gonna do, let's lock this panel and let's go to the primary unit. Here, let's press E, A, E. What I'm gonna do here, this fill effect, let's alt click on this stopwatch and we're gonna link it to this color 1 control, and these two we're gonna link it to this one as well. Yeah. All right, what I've done is I've made some controls so I can easily change the colors of this whole thing. For example, I can make it purple if I wish to. All right, and yeah, I can make these a different color, like so. All right, that's it. That's how the animation is going to look like. So yeah, you can take this even further and make it to the next level, but this video is already too long, so I'll stop from here. If you enjoyed the video, just hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in another tutorial really soon. Bye bye.